All right. Welcome back to the In Between podcast.
Hey.
We are so excited to be with you. I'm your host, Matt. With me, as always, my lovely wife, Jenna.
Hello.
And we're so excited to be with you guys today, mainly because we get to talk about a topic that is very prevalent in our lives, prevalent in your life specifically. And we're going to be talking about becoming a business consultant and becoming a business coach and what that looks like. Some people may know a little bit or know someone in their life that does that. People coach for a lot of different reasons in life, and in this age of social media and getting information literally right at your fingertips that could change your bottom line in your business or change your marriage or whatever it is. So we're going to be talking with Jenna today and specifically highlighting the consulting agency she works with, which is called ACRE Partner.
That's
Jenna, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and ACRE Partner?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been working with ACRE Partner now for the past year. Originally just stepped in to kind of help within specific areas of business consulting that agency owners like us were looking to grow in their business. Okay. And by us, I mean agency owners that own production businesses or marketing companies. Specifically, ACRE Partner specializes in real estate marketing companies. Okay. So stepping in last year, started helping out a little bit, and I'm a little bit more involved now on the consulting side of it, which I really love. And it honestly kind of scratches my itch for teaching still.
I was going to say, you're a teacher all over again.
So it is fun. It's fun because I've been able to share resources that I've, developed or come up with over the past 6-7 years of owning this business and working in this industry, and helping people get from here to there and get to a place where, finding what their the key to success is, like just finding their success and whatever that looks like. So for a lot of people who come through, their success may look like, I need to grow my revenue. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A lot of people might be like, I want to get my time back. How do I create a business to where I don't have to work in it as much, but I can just work on it? I need to build a team. I need to figure out my operations. Like, my operations are everywhere. And the cool part about ACRE Partner is I feel like a lot of my experience within ACRE has now translated to working in almost any business. Now, you've been with me. We'll get into conversations with business owners that any industry, and I'll be like, tell me about your operations. What's your average order value? What's your overhead look like? What's your team look like? How many do you have?
And their head starts to spin because they're like, Jenna, I didn't know you knew all that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's not, you weren't just doing that on behalf of VAST. Yeah. You were so good at what you were doing at VAST that you attracted. So ACRE is a group of consultants. An agency. Yeah, it's an agency.
Group of consultants, and it's founded by one of our great friends, Brendan.
Shout out,
Shout out, Brendan. But Brendan started his real estate media business in California the same year that you started your business here in Tulsa. So we've really run alongside one another, and he's now, pretty much out of his business, but still he owns it from afar and it runs. He's just part owner in it. And now he runs consulting full time. So it's fun. So I've kind of come on his team, helped support a few agencies around the country, Canada. I've talked with clients from all over the world at this point.
Bunch of different continents.
It's a lot of fun. And it's fun because I feel like, if you've ever seen Shark Tank, where they walk in and they're like, introduce yourself, tell me what your product is, tell me what you're selling it for. Yeah. And they start asking questions. I am the shark. Yeah. And I'm not the shark of I'm going to roast you and I'm going to turn you away. I'm the shark.
Or you have all this money you want to invest in them. It's more so.
It's more so I want to know, how can we get you better?
You're like the prophet. That's another show, just like Shark Tank. Come in,
I forgot about
rearrange everything, become the CEO, and then hand it back over or figure out who needs to be running it to keep it going, right? Yeah. Consulting, right? Yeah. So not just business, but there's a lot of fitness consultants out there, a trainer, right? There's a lot of people for marriage or counseling, things like that.
Well, I think naturally, too, and you're married to me, so you could probably attest to this, I've always been very solution-minded.
Totally.
I have, to a fault, if someone shares a problem with me, I mean, to the fault, I've lost friends. Like, you know, when we go out with people, I'll send them solutions. I'll be like, here's what you need. I try to set people up if they're single.
But the solutions create more work. Yeah, and like, people that don't want work, they just want a solution. Yeah. It's overwhelming. They're like, Jenna, okay, I want to meet a guy, but I didn't want to be on a date tomorrow with him.
I already set it up for you, and he's going to be great for you. And I don't worry about it. I got his social security number, and I've done a background check.
You're insane.
And, you know, and
you have issues.
That is such a gift. And I used to be really frustrated by that and really like, oh, reel it in. Don't quiet down. Like, not everyone wants that energy. But now at almost 33 years old, like, I channel the energy, and the energy has made me some money. Okay. Yep. I'll say that being a solutionist has really has served me well. And, you know, I love it. I love consulting. I love coaching. It's been a lot of fun, and I think has kept, me not hit burnout so hard in being a business owner, like stepping out from the lens of like, how can I help other businesses navigate turf that I've already walked on and where I've already been, has helped me, you know, not burn out as easily, honestly, and just owning a business.
And being able to consult, I've been able to hear some of your calls just because some of them happen at our home and I can hear, and I'm always interested because I'm a business owner as well. And it's cool to get different perspectives because you have people from coast to coast, East Coast, everywhere. West Coast, the Southwest. Then you have like, we call it little old us. People always want to know, what are you guys doing in Tulsa? You guys are rocking it, killing it. It's one of the cheapest places in America to live. Like, what are you doing? And we learn from how they price things and how they offer things, just like they learn from you, which is so cool that someone in Canada or someone in South Africa even, or Australia, wherever is a part of that ACRE partner, it's cool to see that organization grow.
Yeah. And it's really grown a lot over the past year.
So what does that look like in terms of like, how does ACRE partner help their clients achieve a larger reach? What does that kind of mean? Because I know that's something that's important in the mass consulting.
Yeah, that's a great question. So initially when an agency comes through ACRE Partner, we definitely introduce the fundamentals of what coaching and what's going to come with ACRE Partner, you know, and the goals that we see for the agency. Sure. It's funny because I think when I describe this in the past 5 minutes, you would probably think, oh, I want to start a business like this, so this would be fit for me. It's actually not. So I'll go right out the gate. Sure. If you are just wanting to start, I'm not probably the person for you as much.
There's I'm not. And explain why that is. There's too much groundwork that needs to be in place before.
So much groundwork.
ACRE is the gasoline.
We are the gasoline. So like, if you're coming through, we're usually like, how much revenue are you doing? Right? Not like, hey, I want to start this and I have $0.
Thinking about buying a camera.
I don't have any revenue. Well, like, my revenue strategies and growth are not going to be applicable, you know, to where you're wanting to go. You're really looking for like a microwavable success. Yeah. And so we really welcome agencies that have, you know, anywhere they're doing maybe like 6 to 10 to 12K a month as a solo, maybe 20. I talked with a guy doing 30K a month solo this past week. And so it's kind of all across the board. And we look at, for one, we look at what's their biggest, you know, challenge. So why are you seeking consulting, and what's been challenging, you know? And so for some, it's, well, I'm really successful on my own, but I'm killing myself and I don't have a family and I don't know how to get out of this and I'm on a hamster wheel and I don't know how to build a team and I don't know how to hire someone and I've never had an employee. And how do you do that? And how do you get another employee? And then how do you get another employee? And then how do you get an operations team? And then how do you successfully deliver a quality product and maintain your reputation? And it just kind of continues to snowball. And so we try to break it down into a few categories. We help with building a team. We help with scaling your systems. We help with growing your revenue. We also help with your marketing and social media presence. And so hopefully all 4 of those tentacles when it comes to the overall business, that we can help you find a focus first and help grow within that focus first. So a lot of people coming through, it might be like, I don't want to be a solo person anymore. I need to build a team. I don't know where to start.
Right.
Can you help me hire? I've helped people with talent acquisition at this point. I've helped enter their market, have helped with job postings,
so you've helped find,
offer letters,
interview, and hire people at other agencies in other states that you've never been there, but you found quality candidates.
Yeah.
That sounds like a job in and of itself.
It is.
Right? Talent acquisition, right? So, okay. So what I'm hearing you say too is what's so cool is if someone were to come in, not only are they're not getting microwaved anything.
Yeah.
They're getting hand tailored, like plans to what their business is, where it's at, but they need to at least have the bar set to a certain level to kind of step into what ACRE offers. Yeah. Okay. So they don't just get the experience that Jenna has from like scaling and doing business. They get all of the consultants, right?
Consultants.
A community.
So
talk
community consultants at this point that have either we are founders or starters of businesses, and also we have some on the team that have just worked in the executive level of of a business, of a 10 million plus type company since day one that have now joined our team. And so very robust, but not just that, when you come on an ACRE partner, you join also access into the community.
Nice.
And so when you have a question, when you have a need, when you have what have you, something come through that you're like, I need some advisement on this, you can post it. And now the community members and the other agencies that are receiving consulting in ACRE are now giving feedback on what they would do or what they have done that they've seen success with it too. So it's really cool and encouraging, and it's like-minded people. Again, it's not people that are like, I'm thinking about doing this, I got a side gig. This is people like, this is their business, and their business has had a proven concept for a little bit, and they've been rocking and rolling. And then we've got some people now too that I would say like, they've been doing it for like 6 months maybe, and they're like, it could be something, but I've got to leave my job. How do I make that transition? Yeah. We also see people start to enter into the chat, if you will, at that stage in the business as well. So,
okay. Yeah. Awesome, man. So such a wealth of knowledge. I mean, like, I think back when I started Vast, if I could have had a little bit more of those conversations and thought a little bit more, I did have some of those conversations with Brendan.
Yeah. Even with Brendan
before,
when you guys were both
early
starting.
on, like, hey, why aren't you doing this? Hey, why? And it's just overwhelming. That was before I even said, Jenna, come on and help, be our CEO, help us 5X, 10X, whatever that was, gasoline that you threw on the next 3 years that you came in. But it's because you did exactly what you're coaching people to do. You got under the hood, so to speak. You rearranged some things. Yeah. We call it rearranging the furniture in our house, right? Yeah. It gives it a different look, a different practicality. Yeah. Maybe your money's running in a different spot. Yeah. Like, it's kind of like water. It will run out of your bucket if you're not figuring out where that needs to go.
And what I like to focus on is longevity.
Right.
Not like what's going to work for you for a season or a quarter or a year, but
not
like
a Band-Aid.
What does the next year look like for you, or 5 years, or 3 years even? 3 years is a long time as a business owner. Are you running this business to scale it one day, to sell it? Do you want it to be worth something?
Have you ever thought
about that? Like, I have those conversations all the time with people. And so it's a lot of fun. Everyone's at a different stage. All the way from like, I'm a solo person, I'm ready to hire my first person, all the way to consulting a team of 15 to 30 to, everyone's at a different spot.
That's a huge group of synergy to be able to get, if one person or two people don't have the answer to your question, somebody does.
Someone has the answer.
And the cool thing that I've seen in ACRE is most of it's white label, plug and play.
That's a whole nother added value.
Let's talk about that.
That you get with ACRE partners. So you're talking tried and true concepts and strategies and resources and documents.
Physical documents.
Physical media. I mean, think of any business. Think of any business you've ever worked in or you have walked into. Let's talk about Apple. Let's talk about Chick-fil-A. Let's talk about any business you walked into. When you look at Chick-fil-A's menu, how long do you think that took Chick-fil-A to come up with that menu? Layout, pricing, graphics, design, branding, etc. A long time. It's a very proven concept. So when you're talking about that in the sense of ACRE partner, you're talking about you're walking into a business and we are saying, here's the menu.
They already have a menu.
Here's the menu. And guess what? Here's the editable link to customize your menu to
make it your own menu.
Make it your own. And so throughout years of doing this business and other business owners too, there have been many times where a lot of us who were the pioneers of our founding of our companies that we did sit down one day and say, we got to have a resource or a standard operating procedure when it comes to booking an appointment. Right. Here's what that needs to look like. And we typed it and we made it, right? Yeah. So now you have people coming up that are maybe a few years behind us, maybe a few years right with us, so just been slower to their growth, that they don't have those resources, right. And they don't know how to take the time to sit down and type them up and make them and design them. Or they feel like they don't have the time to do that. They don't have the time, or whatever the case may be, and they're able to get those resources from us. So it's not unusual for us to be like, oh, here's this. This is what I use. Go ahead and take it and use it.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, that's pretty powerful in having, white label solutions for a lot of your things, everything from budgets to how do you lay out projects to commercial video shoots.
How are you offering that?
What's your gear list look like? What do you do? All of that.
You got tapped in for that one. Yeah.
Gosh, that's like winning the lottery. Yeah. Like what gear do you, that was all hours and hours and hours of just YouTube research I started. And then it's evolved if you look at my camera setup now, it's completely different than it was 6 years ago. Why? Our things that we've needed it for have changed. Yeah. Like all of those things adapt. So, you want to talk about proven strategies? Yeah. Does ACRE have any proven strategies that they use as like a really big selling point or a big hook?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a few resources and strategies, but the biggest one that I think that when you come on with ACRE Partner is going to be our Agency Accelerator. It's an online course curriculum that if you were to think of like lynda.com, but for like real estate media, and you can take at your own pace, and you can watch and learn all the way from sales, all the way from building a team to training your team, resources that are on there. Another resource that I think is like a strategy that we do is we have something very robust and built out called your agency checklist. And it's essentially when you come in, we walk you through agency checklists, and it's hundreds of questions all divided up into these categories and layers that we have thought through in our own businesses that we've seen success from, that we walk you through the checklist. And we start assigning you to complete these things. If you haven't done this, you need to do this. If if you don't know what to charge or your pricing structure, you should always, keep in mind you're going to need, at least a 30% XY, like we start talking numbers and how you should lay your stuff up. And so a lot of strategies that come out of it, are just very, very valuable, not just for your short-term coaching, extensive, but like long term, like you have that for forever, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
To take it and like multiply it and
teach someone how to fish, feed themselves for a lifetime type mentality. But like knowing that in the beginning, see, so many people would probably come in and be like, all right, sign me up for ACRE. You give me all the shortcuts. I'll be there. How do those people pan out?
That's a really hard conversation. Yes, I have. But I will say the most successful people within consulting and coaching are the ones that are willing to work. The ones that are really willing to put in, at least for the first few months, that you're willing to literally do anything I say when it comes to your business, and you're not ghosting, and you're not sleeping in, and you're not working from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You're actually taking the time.
Work 40 hours a week. Are you kidding?
Oh my gosh. You're actually taking the time to like put the practices in the motion, because we see a lot of people get overwhelmed. Honestly, there's a lot of different like places to start. But when I say it's time to hire, listen and start hiring. I've had people go through this even this year, that they did not listen when I said you need to hire. And then they went through their spring and busy season, and they were down in revenue because they couldn't hire, and they were turning away shoots, and they were 2 weeks booked out, and they lost clients to the person down the street. Right. And if you would have hired going into it, and you would have taken it in the increments that I said, we could have avoided that, right? And so now we're past busy season. Now we're going into fall, winter. So you're going to have a lot of companies like us in the industry not hire. They are going into hibernation. They're going to hold my chips close.
Well, not us.
And they're going to work on their business now. And so now we're looking at grow their systems, and now we're looking at their operations and how do we set them up for next year's spring rush, in 2025. And so,
man, I had a question, but I've already answered it. I was going to ask about the competitive edge. So discuss how partnering with ACRE really provides an unfair advantage and competitive edge. But I think you've answered that, from the resources to the wealth of knowledge to
I think it's just the experience too.
Yeah.
The experience and the coaches that are behind it. Like, if you're in the community, you have no excuses. There's no excuses. There are people who have gone before you. Brendan puts it as this: there are people that we have made $10,000 mistakes. And we ask people that, have you ever made a $10,000 mistake? I've made a $30,000 mistake.
Yeah. It doesn't feel good.
It does not feel good. And that could be from hiring the wrong person. That could be from a system that was a dud but expensive.
And just bleeding money.
Bleeding money. And I think when you're new in a business, you are more susceptible to bleed money because you're just willing to try anything.
Yeah,
right?
It might be better. Let me try it out.
Right. So I think that's one thing with us, is that you're talking about people who have gone before you, who have proven strategies, proven concepts, as long as you're willing, able, and, you know, like sitting down and actually willing to put in the work and listen, you know.
Work. That's the key to it.
Which a lot of them are, but.
What advice would you give to a small business or a startup looking to grow and succeed? Like, someone comes to you fresh, they don't have all the nuts and bolts in place, but they do have their LLC, they've got their name, they've got their podcast idea. What would you say to somebody like that?
Become a student. Like, do the work before you talk to me as a paid consultant. I'm not your answer. You should go to YouTube. You should go to Google. You should start watching as many videos as you can. It's free.
So the only thing that it costs is your passion and your drive to go do it or stay and watch that video.
It's hard to get on, calls with people that want consulting services, but aren't, they're not qualified, first of all, to have a conversation about ACRE Partner at this point yet, and I know that.
They're just not there
but
yet.
I, of course, will do a discovery with anyone, or free consults for 15 minutes here and there, with anyone that's just thinking about a business. But the biggest thing I see is they're wanting me to tell them, well, how do you actually do X, Y, and Z? Like the meat of the business. How do you actually take a photo?
They want that in a consult, a discovery
hey, if you're asking
meeting.
me how to do that, that is not what this is. Like, you can type that into Google.
Right.
And so the most successful people are going to be the people that have already done that. And have
figured out
that
enough
and figured it out.
At least what is the question I should be asking, and then go ask it to the internet.
Yes.
Chew it up, maybe ask it to you in a month from now a different way, knowing that you hear that question, you're like, I could tell they've been thinking about it because I've been seeing them do this.
Yeah.
Don't come right out the gate and say, how do you become what you guys did or what you've been doing overnight? That is something.
That is just not a question that's going to be answered within a minute. But I think that the people that I have the most respect for are the people that, if they have those questions, they've already answered them on their own. And they have tried too. They are willing to fail, and they have gone to no ends to try and succeed and put it into practice. And then they're coming to me with a failure story that we can now pull from, so. Yeah.
So I'm going to skip down here because we're going to wrap up here in just a minute. But what's the most important lesson you think you've learned throughout your consulting career, I'll call it, since you've started consulting?
Yeah.
What's the biggest surprise? The biggest, you kind of work 24/7, right?
Yeah.
Because the people that you consult are in different time zones. Continents, different schedules for their businesses.
Yeah, for sure.
When does it work? It's kind of like a counselor or a therapist.
Yeah.
Like, how do we book a appointment with Jenna or with Brendan or who's that go to? I know that's very vague, but I
think the biggest thing I've learned, to go back to the meat of that, the biggest thing I've learned is that those that are coming on for coaching and consulting, they don't stop at business. And so a lot of the people that I consult now at this point, you've heard me on calls.
Yeah.
We're talking about their family, their marriage.
Talk to me about your marriage. You both own and operate a business together. I heard
today.
Jenna on a call, and I'm like, God, you're not their marriage
I know.
counselor.
I was
These
like,
people
how
might
are
not
you
even
guys
give
doing? These two people that were married like us in business together, and they were like, they had just met me on the call.
You could hear the guy. He was like, yeah. I mean, I could only hear it. He's like, yeah, I mean, pretty good. Like, and I'm like,
but the poor wife, she was like, I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
And so I think,
that's so
like
funny.
that goes beyond just business. It's having empathy, and it's also like understanding like you are there to consult and coach on, I call it like mind, soul, body, spirit, like all the tentacles that makes up being a successful business person. It's beyond business content. It really is. I've coached on fitness at this point over the past year. I've like, people have questions about like, what are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you ingesting? Like, what's fueling you right now for motivation? Like, it's beyond just like systems and strategies at this point. And that part kind of took me, I think, what I've learned the most. It's like a good coach, whether like you're specific to your industry or not, you're willing, to help your mentees beyond the course content, you know?
No, that's good, because people want to know, obviously there's a 1, 2, 3 step way of doing this, but my situation might be different. So Jenna, what would
everyone's
you do?
Is so different.
What would you do if you were in my shoes? I'm sure that's like, you get that all the time. Last question before we wrap up. What are your future goals and aspirations, you, Jenna, as a business consultant?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
You got coming down
I hope to just help more agencies with the direction of their business. I think personally over the next year, I want to create more resources and white label more resources to help businesses for accessibility, for things more on demand, not like I need it in the moment and where could I find it, but more of like a robust resource library that's accessible, more course content that you can film and watch, on demand. And those are just personal. Yeah.
No, it's good. Well, you're well on your way. You're crushing it. How can our listeners get in touch with you or learn more about ACRE?
ACREpartner.com, ACRE partner.com, Facebook, Instagram. You can DM me on Insta, Jenna Giesow. And I'm always willing to jump on a call with anyone, learn more about your business. And if your business needs a little bit of gasoline or you need a restructure, you're hitting some burnout too. I've seen a lot of people come through that are like, I'm just burnout. I need a pivot. I need something to shift. I don't know what it is. Can you help me shake things up? I've seen that too. Hit us up.
It's awesome. Well, I enjoyed so much talking with Jenna today. Again, it was Jenna Giesow from ACRE Partner. Check them out and throw some gasoline on your business. And until then, we'll see you in the next episode.